Welcome to the 12th lecture of ONYX Financial Track. In this lecture, we will be talking about the second tab in the inventory parameter screen. The first variable we have is allow delete items from warehouse receiving. By activating this variable, the system will allow the user to delete items in the receiving process, whether it's a warehouse transfer or from a vendor. Allow modify received quantity in goods receipt note. This means that you can modify the quantity while you're receiving at the warehouse. Allow modify receive warehouses in goods receipt note. This means that you can change the warehouse that will be receiving the goods while you're receiving. Allow to exceed warehouse transfer quantity in receiving. We're going to have to give an example for that one to demonstrate what it means. Let's say that in the middle of receiving goods or in the receiving process, the quantity turned out to be larger than the quantity ordered. In that case, you can modify the quantity on the order itself to match the actual amount that you've received or the quantity that you've received. Allow update transfer interface account in warehouse transfer. This means that you can change the interface account that you have entered before in the interface account screen. Use expenses in GRN. If you activate this variable, the system will open up a new tab in GRN. Through this tab, you can add the expenses. Use transfer price as a receiving cost in a warehouse transfer. For example, if we have an item at warehouse A and we're transferring that item to warehouse B, the price of that item at warehouse A at the date of the transfer is $10. If we activate this variable, the system will do the following. Warehouse A would have transferred an item for $10. Warehouse B would have received an item for $10. And that's pretty much it. I hope that example actually explains it. Show notification when exceed quantity limit in warehouse transfer. For example, warehouse B requested a transfer of 10 pieces of a specific item from warehouse A. However, warehouse A transferred 11 pieces instead of 10. Here the system will alert you. Use auto receive warehouse transfer by warehouse. When a warehouse is transferring to another warehouse, the system will automatically accept. Connect transfer request with warehouse transfer. This means that we can't make an actual transfer without a transfer request. Connect request outgoing with outgoing order. We cannot dispatch from a warehouse except with a dispatch order or a dispatch request. Connect goods receive with incoming stock. This means that we cannot receive goods except with an incoming stock transaction. Use compound items. If we activate this one, the system will add a variable in the items detail screen for compound items. It will also let you create compound items. Use item components. We'll open up a screen called item components in the transactions in the inventory module. Install assemble item in a stock adjustment. Alright, so here we're talking about compound items. We'll add the compound item sales in the stock adjustment. Use disassemble for kit item without assemble. This opens up the screen disassemble compound items in the transactions. That's basically to revert the compound items to its components. Use item accessory. Check this variable if it suits your business. So, for example, if it's an electronics company and you're selling laptops, you won't sell the charger separately. You're selling the whole package under one price that includes the cost of the item and the accessories. Use factory serial number. This simply gives the system an order to use serial numbers. Active sequence number for service item. It will sort your service items in a numeric order. Use standard costing of items. This puts a cost for an item before production. If you activate this variable, the system will use the standard cost, and after the production, the system will basically create an adjustment based on the actual cost and the standard cost. Connect item activity by user privilege. For example, if we have an electronics industry and a food industry, and these are obviously very much different from one another, here we will link the activity with the item, and this gives the privilege to some users to work on these items. The next one is allow enter an item manual in Expire and Repair. This is an after sales service. For example, you purchased the shirt and you went home to find that there's a cut in that shirt. When you're returning that shirt for repair or even for a refund, here the employee who will take back the returned item will manually enter the item's code. Dealing with goods under sales and use consignment for others are two faces of the same coin. You can activate these two variables if you are in that kind of business. Let's say that you went to Apple and you asked them to provide you with 1,000 iPhones each month, and you will sell it for them. What Apple will do is that basically they will give you those phones without you paying the price of them until you sell these iPhones. In that case, you would have to pay Apple the prices of these iPhones and of course keep your own share of revenues. Considering this example, that makes the 1,000 iPhones in Apple's records under sales goods, and in your company's records, which is basically the company that is selling these iPhones, it's going to be considered consignment. When you activate use weight system, it will bring up a table with measurement units in the measurement units screen. Alright, as you can see here. And then show measurement factors in transaction system. These options, or the options that we have here, are size, area, length, and distance. Multiplication factor for measurement factors. For example, if you choose length in the previous field, that means that it will use meters. So in that field, you will type in 100, which is 100 centimeters. This variable, or the following variable, basically shows the units within the package. And here you can determine the number of decimal digits that will be used in the costing. Decimal points is to determine the decimal digits for the inventory, for the entire inventory module. Minimum limit cost percent, minimum limit price percent, I'm sorry. In the drop down menu, we have two options, cost or last incoming price. If you choose cost, the system will automatically choose cost for the maximum limit as well. The fields on the right, that's where you determine your profit margin. Minimum limit cost percent equals weighted average cost minus. Here we will determine the minimum limit of the cost according to the average cost. The field after it is the maximum limit. Allow income expire date items. The options are not allow, allow, and allow with alert. Number of batches figures column, we'll leave this variable actually for the upcoming lecture because it's linked to the following tab. That's everything for this lecture. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in the upcoming lecture.